Hey guys, this video is Clarifying Your Vision, Part 1. In this, I'm going to talk about our creative identity, recognizing just things about our identity, and also the concept of vision. So let's dive right on in. Clarifying Your Vision, Part 1. So I think it's important that, to recognize that as creatives, and specifically in our case, music creatives, we're not these mindless people who have this lofty goal of creating songs and giving value to the world. We're not just like these animals who create things and we're mindless, in other words. But the truth is, as creatives, we have something so powerful and special in our possession. And I think the greatest truth of all is actually found in the scripture, in the Bible, in Genesis chapter 1, that every human being, all of mankind, we are created in the image of God. God, the very first thing that He ever did or said about Himself is that He created, right out of the gate, He established something about His identity. And the most powerful truth to me is that we are made in the image of our Creator. Belief systems are besides the point here, but we are made in the image of our Creator. And I think that says a lot about what's inside of our DNA, correct? Right? And basically, we as music makers, we have a creative identity. The person next door who's an office manager, they have a creative identity. But we as music makers, we have a creative identity to step into, to pay attention to, and to cultivate, correct? And so I think what's most important first is to have the understanding that, again, whenever we want to write songs and make albums, we don't want to do it mindlessly, but we want to do it from the position of first understanding who we are as a people, who you are as a person, because everything starts in the internal world, your inner world, and it comes out through the medium of your craft and then exists forever at that point. And so I believe that if you want to be an established songwriter, if you want to be an established recording artist, and if you want to be on large stages or whatever it might be, that sense of greatness and destiny that's on your life, I just want to free you and let you know that it is more than okay. It is beautiful for you to want that for your life because you have greatness inside of you. We all have that potential and that thing of greatness inside of us. And it's up to us if we will recognize that and if we will call it by name and then if we will begin to step into it day by day, step by step. And so as a people, again, who wants to write songs and put out music, we need to first it's very exciting to talk about copyrights, publishing, royalties, recording engineering, all this stuff, but it literally begins with you as the person. And so, and what's important in this is that we also recognize that, sure, we're hyped up. I'm a creative person. That's my identity. It's in my DNA. Well, I think we also need to acknowledge and be very self-aware to know what our strengths are and what our weaknesses are. We all have strengths and weaknesses, but every one of us has specific potential. We have potential for literally anything that we can dream up as creators and as human beings, right? And so I think it's important when you're first starting out or wherever you might be in your music journey that you identify your strengths and maybe even write them down, actually. Write down your strengths, write down your weaknesses. Some examples might be, I'm very strong with lyric and melody. I'm very weak in musicianship, and anything you can dream up. Recognize that because it does something. It establishes the truth, some just hard facts and truths about yourself, but it also lets you know, oh man, I'm strong in these areas, but I'm weak in these areas. If I'm honest with myself, and maybe let others speak into that so you can identify your creative identity. And then from there, it allows you to recognize, okay, these are my lists of weaknesses, so therefore, who do I know who these weaknesses are their strengths? It also allows you to say, man, okay, these are my weaknesses. Well, you know what? I want to work on my musicianship, or I want to work on my lyrical content. Maybe I'm going to start reading books and reading whatever so I can start to absorb words and rhymes and things like that. But the point is to write down your strengths and weaknesses, because you as a creator with a creative DNA and identity, it begins with you as a person, and it must be pointed out and called out. And lastly, I think it's massively important that we actually do write down your vision. Become the person who is willing to not just mindlessly be this like musical animal out there writing songs and running around the woods like, singing melodies or whatever, but that you become a person who will dare to write down a clear vision, to write down a vision that seems impossible to you, not just something cute that you would like to do, but write down something that is in your scope of dreaming and write it down so that your vision can be made plain. This is in the Bible, Habakkuk, I believe it's chapter 2 or maybe 3. Forgive me if I'm botching that, the reference there, but it's definitely in either chapter 2 or 3 of Habakkuk in the Bible. And basically, if you write down your vision and make it plain, anyone who reads that vision will be able to run. Now, the first person who's going to read that vision, and the purpose of writing down your vision and making it plain in this case is for you personally. It's for you to have an understanding. It's for you to have a reference point. It's for you to make sure you have a huge dream, but you know what? Let's dissect that into milestones so that you can make it realistic for yourself. Because you don't just simply do a dream or fulfill a dream. What you do is a bunch of little things and you work toward it. And by the end, you will have fulfilled this massive dream that you never thought possible before. But again, as a creator who has a creative DNA and identity that is God ordained, it's in His image, if you will first recognize who you are as a person, acknowledge your strengths and weaknesses so that certain things can be clearly defined, and then you take your vision and you make it plain, I promise you, as you read your vision, your plain vision over and over, you will be able to run. And so let's go ahead and dive into the next. If this video on the music business catches your interest, be sure to like, share, and then subscribe to this channel for more.